Welcome back to the Basement Dweller Tabletop. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to talk about the process that I've been using to paint up all the tanks in the Astra Militarum Army I've been working on since last September. Slow going. I've been traveling a little bit with work this week, so I haven't done a lot of painting, but we're going to talk about some of the technique and the method, and you guys can end up with some better looking tanks than me, I'm sure, but maybe it'll help somebody out a little bit. So here we are. This is our Chimera. He's been primed up. It is a Color Forge. It's the brown Color Forge. It's kind of a deep brown. That's a good base color, gives us good shadows, but it's not as stark as a black. So the thing about the blacks is you get really, really dark shadows. This gives you a little bit more creamy final finish, and it'll show through just a little bit on some of the next steps. Pull a fresh one out of the oven here. Here's some of the next steps. So you can see some of that stippling pattern in the white. That's just a bold titanium white from Pro Acryl, but any nice bold white will work. It gives you a brighter layer to work on, and you could leave some of those recesses a little bit darker. This guy needs a little bit more work to smooth out some of those transitions, but some of that starkness is actually going to come through in that green at the end. And then you see here's one that's a little bit more on the finished side. He's got his green tones and a little bit of highlighting on top of the green. So that's just a Vallejo. There's a great set. It's a World War II set, even though these guys are World War I inspired, but it's a so the fatigues are English uniform brown. The green, I think it's a Russian green that I'm using for these guys. It's on the bottles upstairs. But see, he's got some of his details on him. He's got the gold. He's got some highlighting up. So that's some simple, again, dry brushing a little bit of white over those symbols just to pick them out and make them a little brighter. And then you hit them with the speed paint. Yellow, the Imperial Fist yellow is a great one. I'm actually using the Army Painter speed paints on this guy, so it's the Zealot yellow that's using on that guy. So he's getting there. He's not quite done, but he needs a little bit more detail done on him. And then here we go on to the final. They've got a bunch of their markings, just some basic big broad stripes. You can see it on that back tank too. So they've been painted. Again, some Army Painter paints, a little bit of that speed paint for the red. I've done this directly over top of that green layer. So you see back on this guy, he's got that green up in that panel. No big deal. And you can see some of that variation in tone there. And then some of that carries over, even with the speed paint. So it's a speed paint for the red, and then a regular, just a standard acrylic blue from Army Painter, one of their lighter blues. And you can deepen that up or make that brighter. I like the variation in tone. Gives a little bit of definition there. And then one of the other things you can see on this guy, of course, we've got our plasma guns. Turn that a little bit better in the light so it shows up a little bit more. So here is the plasma gun. Really simple. Again, that bold titanium white, just laying down a layer of that white into the coils. And then once that's dried, do a little tiny bit of dry brush of that same bold titanium white around the edges, kind of right, big finger, right there, right at the edges. So you just get a little bit there, and then just showing that there's some reflection, some bounce light coming off of those coils. And then I hit the coils and very carefully, just kind of almost dry brushing it onto the highlights there. Put on that Hex Wraith. It's a nice green shade color from Games Workshop. So there he's got his markings. And then we get into decals. Decals. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, see if you can see the shine on this guy. So you can still see the outline very, very faintly of this guy's decal just around that glorium. Now on the command tank, where'd I put the thing? He's way over there. Head over here, run through the shadows. Run back over here. Run. All right, so on this command tank, so I'm finding on the shinier surfaces, like your speed paints, they do end up with a little bit more of a sheen. It comes out really smooth. It has a very, very painted on look. I did use, on this guy, I used a micro set as a base rather than the microsol. The other ones I used the microsol. It's not quite as powerful, so it doesn't dissolve as much of the decal. You can kind of see he's a little off center. Decals are very, very tricky. I'm trying to get better with them, but they are quite challenging to get a nice clean result. I would love to try some of the Goobertown Hobbies, or not Goobertown, but the Hobgoblins. What's their name? The guys who do the stamping plates. It's Casey from eBay Rescues and Goobs from Goobertown Hobbies. Brent. Those guys have a really nice product, really simple to use. I haven't gotten any of the plates yet, so I'm trying to order some of those in the near future. Hopefully, that will be a little easier to use on the wall of infantry over there. They've all got to get markings on their shoulders to distinguish their squads. So we're to that phase in this army. So we've got three almost completely finished tanks. They're in a good state, ready for play. Got one that needs just a little bit more. He needs his markings on him. And we'll do just a little bit more on his face. So we can get in here and zoom in. Ooh, floating tanks. He's kind of a zombie right now. He doesn't have a lot of eyeball. With the other command tank, I was able to get some. Let's see if we can get. Let's do a zoom. Make a zoom. We'll get in here and look at his eyes. So he's actually got some eyes. He has a little bit of that 100-yard stare, but just a tiny bit of the blue speed paint to give it an iris of blue, and then the black dot in the middle for the pupil. So he's got blue eyes. Little crazy blue-eyed tank captain. Awesome. So that is the progress that I'm making on the army, and that is the process that I'm using. So this guy's going to get some more micro set on his decals to try and soften them up. I may hit it with a matte varnish first before I add any more microset or microsol, because all that's going to do is soften up the decal. I might need to blend it in with the background a little bit better. And then I'll do a little bit of sponging with that green to do some damage to the markings. So it looks like it's flaking off a little bit or it's damaged a little bit through battle. And then he'll be ready to fight. So that is the Imperial Guard tanks. So I got 2 heavily in progress, 1 almost finished. These 3 guys just pretty much done. They're ready to go. So this project is slowly but surely wrapping up. A couple character models to go. Big squad of Cadians. Last platoon of Cadians. And then a couple of Sentinels. And then, oh yeah, I forgot about these guys. I'm going to paint some more Ogrins. They're more in the... So I've got one with the club and shield. So hey, if anybody's got any clubs and shields they'd be willing to trade, I got all kinds of bits. Just hit me up in the comments and maybe we'll connect. I got all kinds of Imperial Guard. I mean, I got a bucket of bits. I still got to get a lot of that stuff off the sprues. Marine stuff, Tyranid, Necron, tiny bit of Eldar, Dark Eldar. Not a lot of extras on those. But yeah, that's the progress. That's the activity. That is the technique. I think they're coming out pretty good. They're going to be a lot of fun to play. Now we need some Rogal Dorns and some Basilisks and some Manticores. Got to get a broader range of tanks in this army. It's a little bit dry. It's a whole bunch of the classic Leman Russ with a battle cannon. We got this one guy who's got the extended barrel that we use as a vanquisher in my local group. But hey, if you've got a favorite Leman Russ tank, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to chat, talk about that. And that's all I got today. Thanks again. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching through the video, and we'll talk to you later.